Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Nadia Nurmalasari. I'm from A3 2016 English Education Study Program of IKIP Siliwangi. Okay guys, now I will going to talk about unit in written discourse. Let's see the videos. As we know, discourse can be either written such as in books, essays, newspaper, magazines, road signs, or in voice or spoken, such as in conversations, verbal interactions, and TV programs. Discourse analysis study language in either spoken or written use. According to G. and Hanford 2013, the importance of discourse analysis lies in the fact that through speaking and writing in the world, we make the world meaningful in certain ways or not in others. Recently, the scope of linguistics has switched from analyzing single sentence to the distribution of linguistic elements in extended text and the relationship between text and social situations. By taking the scope of this paper into account, discussing written text normally includes the consideration of cohesion, coherence, and text patterns. Thus, each aspect will be discussed in the following section. Written texts are considered an important aspect that needs to be analyzed. Doing so means that writers gain the ability to make their writing more cohesive and easier to read. Cohesion, coherence, clause relation, and text patterns are all parts of written text. According to Halliday and Hassan 1976, a text, not just a string of sentences, can be either spoken or written and of any length. It is not simply a large grammatical unit, something of the same kind of sentence, but a semantic unit whose texture is dictated by its interpretation within a particular context or environment. A text is the ability to distinguish a particular sequence. A text is the ability to distinguish a particular sequence of sentences, whether connected or not. It is also a semantic unit of meaning in the language. For instance, Halliday and Hassan 1978 coined the term ties, which refers to a single instance of cohesion. Such ties mean that written text can be analyzed by investigating the relationship between cohesion and the organization of written text into sentence and paragraph. So, how to make a good written text using grammatical units? Let's try to analyzing the text. Cohesion and coherence. A text cohesion and coherence are pivotal. Cohesion means the relationship between meaning within a particular written text and the way the reader interprets several elements of the discourse. Cohesion relations. There are 5 cohesive devices: reference, substitutions, ellipsis, conjunction, and lexis. In this section, 4 types of grammatical cohesion will be discussed in turn. After that, lexical cohesion will be addressed. Okay, let's continue to the first cohesive relation, that is reference. In any language, there are some items that refer to something else for their interpretation rather than being interpreted on their own. This process is called reference, in that the information is signaled for retrieving the referential meaning. Reference can be personal, including pronouns, possessive adjective, and possessive pronouns, and then demonstrative, including verbal pointing, and comparative, including deictic and non-deictic, that function as cohesive ties. We can see the example of the picture. 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. See how they run, see how they run, is an example of personal reference where the pronoun they refer to three blind mice. An example of demonstrative reference is Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stopped in a puddle right up to his middle and never were there again. There, in this example, refers to Gloucester. A comparative reference is there were two wrens upon a tree. Another came and there were three, where another refers to wrens. This according to Halliday and Hassan 1976. The second is substitution. This cohesive relation is in contrast with The second is substitution. This cohesive relation is in contrast with the former or reference, in which reference is a relation in terms of the meaning or semantic, while substitution is a relation in terms of the wording or grammatical. In other words, this is a relationship between linguistic items. It is the replacement of one item by another. Substitution is used instead of repeating a particular item. For example, my axe is too blunt. I must get a sharp one. In which one is the substitute for axe? There are three types of substitution. The first is nominal, verbal, and clausal. The substitutes once or the same is a nominal substitution. For instance, I have heard some strange stories in my time, but this one was perhaps the strangest one of all, where one is a substitute for stories. The second type is the verbal substitution, or do. For instance, the words did not come the same as they used to do, where do is the substitute for come. The third type is the clausal, so or not. For example, is there going to be an earthquake? It says so, where so presupposes the clause there is going to be an earthquake. And let's see to third part. There is ellipsis. Ellipsis is similar to substitution as it can be interpreted as the form of substitution in which the item is replaced by nothing. Nevertheless, ellipsis and substitution differ in terms of their structural mechanism. It is substitution by zero. It is not articulate or written and something is left unsaid. It is a presupposition at the level of words and structures. Just like substitution, ellipsis can be established within the nominal, verbal, and clausal groups. The fourth is conjunction. The fourth cohesive device is an anaphoric relationship as it expresses particular meaning that presuppose the existence of another component in discourse. It is employed to connect clauses using conjunctive relation, whether adjective and adversative yet, causal so or temporal then. And then lexical cohesion. In order to cover all type of cohesion relationship, this section will address lexical cohesion. Lexical cohesion can be achieved through reiteration, that is, saying something again or multiple times for the purpose of emphasis or clarity. Pedagogically speaking, it is the most common movement to be learned by language learners and taught by teachers. Yet, McCarthy, 1991, agrees that it is negligent to consider lexical cohesion out of their discourse, although lexical cohesion play an important role in verbal interaction. They are mostly abounded in English description. Lexical cohesion includes repetition, synonym, near synonym, antonym, superordinate, general words, and metonymy. For instance, Henry's bought himself a new Jaguar. He practically lives in a car. The word car refers to Jaguar, which is the superordinate of Jaguar. In addition, lexical cohesion can be achieved through collocation. Lewis and Consett, 2000, define collocation as the words that are placed or found together in a predictable pattern. The function of general nouns are similar through reiteration. A lexical item is an open set, while a grammatical item is a member of a closed system. For instance, the following example: the cohesive function of the general noun goes together with the reference the in. We all kept quiet. That seemed the best move. That is according to Halliday and Hassan, 1976. And then the last analyzing is clause relations and text patterns. It is worth noting that when we talk about grammatical and lexical cohesion, clause relation and micro-text patterns should be considered. One clause or sentence relation to another can be interpreted through either matching relation or logical sequence relation. This according to Winter, 1994. Additionally, the most common macro patterns in a text are those that Hui, 2001, identifies as follows. The first is problem solution, the second is general particular, the third is hypothetical real or claim counterclaim pattern. The problem solution pattern is the most common pattern. The first function should afford background information. The second function raises a particular problem. The third function is to provide a response counterclaim to the problem that has arisen. Finally, an evaluation deals with whether the response to the problem is positive or negative. If a negative solution is achieved, the pattern should be repeated until a positive evaluation result is attained. This is an example of this pattern. 1. Most people like to take a camera with them when they travel abroad. 2nd, but all airports nowadays have X-ray security screening and X-rays can damage film. The 3rd, one solution to this problem is to purchase specially designed lead line pouch. 4th, these are cheap and can protect film from all but the strongest X-ray. The example above covers the 4 functions of a problem solution pattern. The first sentence presents a particular situation, the second raises a problem, the third provides a response to the problem raised, and the fourth sentence positively evaluates the proposed solution. They are situation, problem, response, and evaluation pattern, or we call SPRE. To conclude this section, all the cohesive device, clause relation, and text patterns mentioned above afford means for connecting the apparent text structure. As Gray, 1984, notes, they reflect both the communicative intent and choice by the authors. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.